Careless with Cash, the Empire.
And welcome back, episode 8 of World Soccer Daily, an Arc Soccer Collective original. I'm your host, Kurtis and Dupe, here as always with my buddy Dupe. How you doing, man?
I'm good, boys. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. We got a good episode for you guys today. Don't forget to subscribe on all platforms, World Soccer Daily at Arc Soccer Collective. That's TikTok, Instagram, Substack, all that. Got a good episode for you guys. Been away for a while. We missed the entire African Cup of Nations, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Croix Bethune. And then at the end of the episode, we're going to give you guys a little overview of all the leagues and all the top European leagues and where we think they are and what's going to happen towards this final stretch now that we're out of the January transfer window. But first, Dupe. African Cup of Nations. We were off the entire time. Middle of the season tournament, as always, the African Cup of Nations. Senegal wins. Couple of things I want to take away from it. Exciting tournament for me, for sure. From beginning to end, I felt like this might have been the most entertaining African Cup of Nations I've seen. At the same time, this is probably the most African Cup of Nations ball I've ever seen in my life because it's on beIN Sport. It was on beIN Sport last time around, but I now have the channel, I have more access to it, and I'm watching.
Right.
My biggest takeaway was Nigeria's progress offensively. So much firepower. Senegal won again. We were going to talk about Sadio Mane, but let's talk about Nigeria for a second.
Listening. Talk to me.
I love how they play together. And then all of a sudden, I see Victor Osimhen getting angry because Lookman's scoring too many and point at him like, you're scoring too much. And I'm like, wait, what's going on here? What is hold on, guys.
It's very interesting, but it's just like, it's like that big brother, little brother kind of thing, where it's like,
game out of reach though. That's
I think it's one of those things where Osimhen is trying to prove a point where it's not about you're scoring too much, it's his style of play.
gotcha.
I think that might be what he might be trying to get him to understand is like, look, while I'm making runs or I'm giving opportunities to put the ball in the net, find me. I'm not mad at your scoring, but just pick your head up and find me.
Fair, very fair, very fair. But just to speak about Nigeria, I loved how they played as a team. I just saw the ball movement looked so far different to me, and I wanted to like get a chance to like actually break down like how they play and like kind of like compare it to like a traditional style of play. So for me, when I see Nigeria's play, some people say it looks a little chaotic at times and it looks a little sporadic. For me, when I see them play, I see a bunch of guys who rely on their athletic ability, but it's not in the terms of they don't have skill. It's in terms I have this athletic ability that you can't stop. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with that being said, how do you feel about their style of play versus like a more technical style of play with like France or in Italy, where it's more, I won't say more tactically advanced. I'll say, I don't even know the word I'm looking for, to be honest with you, but it looks different. It looks a little, but it works for them. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think if you put Nigeria in a French training regimen, it wouldn't work for them, is what I'm trying to get at. What do you think?
No, I think what you got to understand, and maybe this is the best way that I can say it. When you look at a team like France or Spain, any team in Europe play, it's more of a methodical game. And the pace of that game is different. When you look at, let's just say, Nigeria and the AFCON team, for example, the pace of the game is different because you're seeing raw athleticism at its finest, but also raw soccer talent at its highest speed.
Gotcha.
So it's not going to look as clean or as polished because it's raw. And the pace that they play at is so much different. It's almost like looking at the Premier League and looking at the MLS. It's not that the MLS doesn't have talent. It's just the pace of the MLS is it looks so chaotic, but it's organized.
Gotcha.
It's just like you take, let's just look at CONCACAF, for example. It's the same thing. When USA play, it's this slow, it looks methodical. It wants to look this brand of soccer like it's, Europe, or it's, it wants to look like Europe, but it's not. But then when you look at Central America and, the Caribbean teams, it's at a pace, it's aggressive, it looks wild, but there's so much skill and talent in doing that. And that's what the AFCON is. It's so much skill with raw ability that it takes time to groom it to this slow, methodical pace But when you put those players on those teams, that's what it looks like. And you can identify their skills so much easier. It's like when you look at Pogba play in the last World Cup, it doesn't look like he's out of control. He's so far in control that it just looks so easy. When you look at those African players that play for, let's just use France as an example. Their quality shows so much easier because the pace around them is so much slower. And their athleticism can shine so much more. That's why it's so easy to identify a really good like talent in Europe because everybody else is not at that same skill level or pace.
Gotcha.
So when you
So
look at the AFCON, that's what you get. So when you look at Nigeria, it's not that they're playing like wild. It's great ball. It's just now it's under it's more refined and it's getting better. Because they weren't playing like that before. They almost didn't qualify.
yeah, yeah,
So
and that's the part I like the best. It improved drastically in a couple years. I think that's just a part of the selection pool they have now and where these
right.
guys are playing. And you, like you said, just to add on to what you're saying, you put one of these guys on a team with these guys in the EPL, they shine so bright because of the talent they have, and it shows. Okay, this works. This works on a team. This works for a Man City. This works for a Chelsea. This works for a Atletico Madrid. But let's switch gears for a second and get into a little bit of the final of the African Cup of Nations with Senegal and Morocco, and talk about what potentially Senegal can do in the World Cup as well. I do like their ability as well. I think they might be the biggest threat to becoming an African team to win the World Cup. Do I think it'll happen this year? Probably not. I think there's a good chance of it happening this year again for the same reason I think Brazil could also win the World Cup. The climate is just so different compared to what European soccer players are used to. You have that advantage coming out the gate. Now with Senegal, I see a lot of talent. I see Sadio Mane, I see Nicholas Jackson, I see Koulibaly. I see a lot of guys who can potentially, given the right matchups in the right bracket at post group stage, I mean the right lineup post group stage,
Mhm.
an ability to get to the semifinals, and from there we see what happens. Sadio Mane is still Sadio Mane, even if he is in RSL or if he gets transferred, which I doubt. I don't think that nothing ever came of that if he was going to get transferred to Fenerbahce was the
Right.
talk. But
Yeah.
he didn't get transferred. But I do see where this team has a potential to have a couple people saying, "Okay, now hold on, we're getting towards the end of this. We're getting towards the end of this tournament. And they're looking good and they're scoring on all cylinders." What do you think their potential is? What do you think the best? What do you think the best situation is for them? Where do you think they finish? What
I
do you think they
think
need to do if they? What do you think they need to do to get to the World Cup as well?
I think they're there. I think in all
Not
honesty,
the. I'm sorry, not the World Cup final. They're already at the World Cup. What do you
I
need to
think
get
that
to the World Cup?
to be quite honest with you, they had went undefeated like 13 games straight at one point without even getting a loss. And they beat some quality teams. So, in my opinion, I think they are a huge favorite to win the World Cup. You can't sleep on their size, their athleticism, but also they have key players in key positions.
Yeah,
And I
I
mean,
agree.
if you look at the past couple World Cups, when Ghana went very far, they had all tools firing. When Ivory Coast went pretty far, they had everything firing. Only thing that got to them was a bit of injury, some cards. When Morocco, last World Cup, really started to shine, people were surprised. Senegal, to me, won't be a surprise because look at what they've been able to produce.
Mhm.
All their young players are playing at a high quality level. All their talented players are at the highest of level, and they're in the top 10 in their positions. I mean,
Agreed.
Nicholas Jackson is a work in progress. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah, he's always the work. I mean, there's a lot of work in progress on the team. Mamadou Sarr, he's another guy that you can mention. That's as a
Right.
Chelsea fan, it's like there's potential there, but you got it. There's a couple of steps that they got to get past before they can become that. But you
But
see it,
but
you
you see
see
it. But so does
it.
every other country. They have to get it right. Like with Senegal, there's no weight on their shoulders. When you look
Yeah.
at Brazil, there's weight on their shoulders. Spain, weight on their shoulders. Germany, weight on their shoulders. Even here, US, weight on
Oh,
their shoulders to get to a
yeah,
certain bracket or to get to a certain place. With Senegal, to me, Morocco has more pressure than they do.
really. Well, after that final.
No, but if you look at
Yeah.
it in comparison, what Morocco has done since the last World Cup till now, they built that nation to be a powerhouse across the board. Senegal has just done it with work. quietly. Like everybody's like, oh, Senegal, oh, Senegal. Now it's like, wait a minute, give them their respect. You know what I'm saying? And Senegal, to me, Mane has been a top player for years, but now he's in the conversation of top 5, top 6 players in the world. But you
Okay,
just
so
don't hear it come all the time.
all right, so here's my hot take for the day on Sadio Mane. I think there's a couple points in his career where he was the second best player in the world, behind Messi and nobody else, and that's when Ronaldo was hitting on all cylinders as well. I just think that because he was on Liverpool and there was the Salah effect, and
Jesus.
they put everything behind Mohamed Salah. I'm serious, man. Like every time I watch Sadio Mane play, I'm like, how does nobody see what I see in this guy?
No,
I really do think he's
talented.
he's clearly the best African soccer player of all time. I'm not even going to argue that George Way nonsense. I hate to sound like the new school versus old school guy.
Listen, you gonna get slapped.
Sadio Mane.
Get slapped.
I'm Gen Z on this one. And I will argue it till the end of days. Sadio Mane is a player we have not seen talent wise. We just don't appreciate him for his talents. We just don't appreciate him.
Now, so hold on. As far as talent, Sadio Mane is probably in the top 5 African player of all time. Top 5.
Top 2, and he's not 2.
Listen,
Aubrey Graham.
Listen. He's in the conversation with Yaya, Uncle George. You got Benny, you can't sleep on. You got JJ, you really can't sleep on. You got Samuel. You got Didier. There's players.
I feel like we're naming names now.
No, we not naming names.
I was with you on Yaya.
Naming names.
I will give you one. Yaya Toure is a close 2. He's a close 2. He is a very talented player.
So what you put Samuel under?
You're not going to want to hear where I put him. You're not going to want to hear.
Where you put Didier?
Didier Drogba's 3. Didier Drogba's 3 for me. It's Sadio Mane, Yaya Toure, Didier Drogba, Samuel Eto'o.
So where you put Kanu?
He's not 5 because George Weah's 5. We'll break it down one day. People are not going to like my opinions on this, but I'm telling you, Sadio Mane.
He's great. Listen, the thing about it is this. Sadio Mane's time at Liverpool was the chance for the world to see him. He was great.
Was it appreciated? I
think it was appreciated. I don't think
it was.
It was for this reason. You don't get to see Salah without seeing Mane at that time. Because you got to remember, Salah was a journeyman at that time. He went to Chelsea, didn't necessarily have the best season. When he got to Fiorentina was when his game started to change. And then when he got to Roma, it blossomed even more. Then when he came back to the Premier League and got to Liverpool, that's when everybody was like, oh, Salah's this player. Sadio Mane's been quietly just killing it. Nice and steady. But when he got to Liverpool was when the world stage and the lights really started to shine for him. It's no different when, you look at certain players during the time frame, like with Modric. People didn't rate Modric. Then when he got to Madrid and people really started to pay attention to like who's moving that wheel for them, it's, oh, he's a great player now. You see what I'm saying? So it depends on where you are and when people really start to pay attention. Same thing with Ozil. Ozil was a talent. But then Ozil got to Madrid and shined and killed it. You know what I'm saying? Then he went to Arsenal, shined and killed it. So it's the same thing with Mane. His talent is unbelievable, but that Liverpool spotlight shined so much on him. Even though Salah was still there, you don't get the best of Salah without Mane.
I agree with you, but I kind of feel like it's also one of those situations where it's similar to like another player that's similar to Modric. I look at it like Frank Ribéry. Frank Ribéry at points was very talented, but it was just like, it wasn't appreciated to the points where I felt like it should have been. I feel like he was another player at one point was clearly the third behind Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. I won't say he was better than Ronaldo.
But the thing is, what's more important, the respect from your peers or respect from the pundits or the media?
It depends on who you are. It depends on where you are and who you are, what you think. But
to your point, Ribéry during that time frame when Bayern Munich went on multiple runs, Ribéry was killing it, and everybody gave him his flowers for that. He got his love, just like Mane. Mane got all his love and still receives it because of what he did at Liverpool. You got
He
to think
gets
that's
a.
the biggest club he's played for.
I'm not saying they don't get their love. The love isn't the issue. It's the acknowledgement of where they stand rightfully on that list of
But where are you going to
talent.
put Mane during that Liverpool time frame?
I think what he did didn't show up on the stat sheet necessarily.
Because it's hard at that time. You got to remember too, and this is a part
But
to the three aliens that were playing at that time. The three aliens: Neymar, Messi, Ronaldo. During that time frame, won't nobody coming in the top three because of them. And rightfully so, Neymar could have been in the top two for a couple years. But when you look at the numbers of the other two aliens in that speech, it's like you're not comparing. We're talking about 50, 60, 70 goals in a season is unheard of with no injuries.
that's fair. But at the same time, they were able to put Salah on a level that I feel like was far above what they were putting Sadio Mane at the time, and that's where I get lost in the situation.
That's where and again now to what you're saying, that's why Mane was also upset he wasn't getting the goals because he was feeding Salah.
It's fair.
So if he would have got the goals, maybe different situation because it's the same thing. Then if you really look at it, like with Neymar, Messi, and Suarez.
Uh-huh.
Neymar could have had more goals, but he's giving them to Suarez. Did Suarez always get the glory that he could have? No, because why? Neymar scoring 30, 40 plus goals. He's scoring 30, 40 plus goals.
That's
It's
fair.
tough to pick and choose which one you want to go to, but they're still within their positions, top five.
True. But we'll see because, like I said, Senegal's gonna show some people some things, and if Sadio Mane is, I'm gonna mark this, and then we're gonna come back during the World Cup, and I'm gonna be like,
Listen,
remember when I told you?
Episode 8.
Episode 8. After the
Episode 8.
17-minute mark, I'm gonna come back to this in the
Absolutely.
summer because I'm telling you, he's gonna have a World Cup moment that you're gonna be like, oh my, he was playing.
He's already.
Where was he playing?
What he did. Look at what he just did in the final though for AFCON.
Oh yeah,
Your team walk off the field, you call them back on, and you win the game.
Yeah.
And no one can say, oh, well, he didn't lead. He led the whole entire thing. Plus the comeback.
And I wish we were on during the African Cup of Nations to actually discuss that final with Morocco in detail because the fallout from that has been insane. But
yeah, it's been crazy.
But again, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the US, Canada, Mexico in a couple months. So let's move on to the NWSL with my girl Croix Bethune transferring over to KC Current. But let's also take this into like a broader conversation about the NWSL. So Croix Bethune Washington was with the Washington Spirit, requested a trade, and now is with the KC Current. This comes after when we're off there. This also comes off the back of Trinity Rodman staying in the NWSL, which is a big win for the NWSL and U.S. soccer as a whole. We'll talk about that as well. Mm-hmm. But let's talk implications and what this will mean for the league and what it means for Croix Bethune. This is coming off of her sophomore year, sophomore year, I could say, even though it's the pros.
Yeah.
Great season. She's been a star. She's been a breakout star since she's been in the league. I mean, obviously, behind Trinity Rodman, how much media presence you're gonna get media? You're gonna get your fair media time, but you're not gonna get as much as Trinity Rodman. You're not the star she is. So I think the move for her makes sense on that aspect in terms of being her own player and having her own team to actually focus on her brand. Now let's talk on the field. I don't know what the KC Current can do with her per se to like get them to another level, but I do believe with the Washington Spirit she was in a better position in terms of success. How do you feel?
I mean, first I'll break it down like this. She was her own star coming into the league.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you really look at it, Trinity's success came from Croix being great.
Kind of like a Sadio Mane Salah situation, right?
Similar, very true.
Similar.
Yeah. And I look at it like Croix carried the team while Trinity was hurt.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest with you, could Trinity have gone to Europe? Yes. But would it have been difficult? Very much so, because in that final, she didn't have a great game. And to me, her staying in the NWSL, it helps the league, but it also helps her career because she has now something to prove. Croix Bethune was already a legit bona fide star.
Mm-hmm.
And towards the end of this past season, it was literally Croix and everybody else.
Yeah.
Trinity was in and out of the season, so it wasn't like she had this high impact. Croix was there majority of the season, even though she had her injuries too.
Mm-hmm.
And even going back to her rookie season, she still balled out. So I think Croix has solidified who she is as a player on and off the field because she's gotten a lot of spotlight. I think when she gets to KC, now she puts the spotlight on KC to have more coverage because Croix is getting covered. She just got done doing the Nike Tiempo release,
Yep.
and Travis Scott was there, so she just had a great time.
Yep.
Her publicity has always been great. She's always in the community, daring to do new things. She just did the Dead Dirt with Damo because she was part of that whole buildup.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she has all the tools now to really grow her brand even more in KC. Now, don't get me wrong, Washington loved her because she was consistent
Exactly.
and she was a bona fide star. I think, like I said, I don't think Trinity gets there on her own without a Croix Bethune. But Croix balled out consistently with help, without help. You know what I'm saying? And I think even in that final, she carried enough weight. And even in these most recent USA matches, she's scoring with ease and showing that she's a bona fide talent.
And we gotta give Trinity Army some grace in that final. This was a bad season for her. She was injuries piled up on her. She is showing signs that she's gonna come back to that same pace and skill she had when she was doing her international break game during the international break.
Now,
I don't doubt that she won't return to what she was. Without Croix Bethune, it will look different. I agree with you. She does now have something to prove, but I feel like at the same time, I'm looking at this move on Croix Bethune's behalf, and I'm thinking, man, if you had stayed at Washington Spirit, we could have been talking about a super team that's the entertainment value from you staying with Washington would have been, for me, something I would have liked to have seen. But I understand. I
yeah, we
understand
all
spreading.
wanted to see that.
I understand spreading the talent out, but here's my thing about spreading out talent. I've seen spreading out talent not work in leagues before. Like in the NBA during a time, there was a time where they had a lot of talent, but the league was just kind of boring because everybody was kind of like, it's like one guy over here, and they're all moving in different places, but nobody's really winning
Yeah.
or having any kind of talk. When the game really got important, when the game really got entertaining and the NBA really became back in a sense to me, was when LeBron James went to Miami and it became a super team. Everybody wanted to see that super team, whether they hated them or whether they loved them. Her staying at the Spirit and the Spirit becoming a dominant force would have been a hated entity. The NWSL would have had the biggest marketing brand with the biggest hated club in the world with Trinity Rodman and Croix Bethune, and we missed it. We missed the mark on that one. What do you think about that, though?
I don't think we missed the mark on it because you got to look at it like this. Look at Angel City.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Gotham. And even Washington Spirit still, they're all still great teams.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think Croix leaving is a spread the wealth kind of thing or would have created a mega team because they didn't win a championship anyway.
Fair. But they
It's
were
a
good.
big what if. It'd have been one thing if they won the championship and Trinity scored a goal or Croix, you know what I'm saying, pulled something off, but they didn't win a championship. So there is no super team without that. It's just a huge what if. To me, what it reminds me of is Oklahoma City Thunder.
Okay, that might be a better comparison.
When you had Russ, KD,
Uh-huh.
you know what I'm saying, James Harden.
Yeah.
To me, Croix is James Harden leaving, but she's about to go turn everything up now at KC. And now what does Trinity do with rebuilding those pieces? Can she get back to a final? Can she elevate her numbers and getting 20-plus goals and becoming this face of the league? I think that, to me, then becomes a champion, like the real deal. Like, does she become the MVP of the league now? You know what I'm saying? Like, or does Croix become, I think that's where now we get to see what either one of them do with this opportunity.
I agree. And it's also to add on to that, it's also good to see like a media cycle around what's going on with them because now Claire Hutton's from the KC Current is now going to Bay FC. So it's like you see the inner workings of how this league is slowly doing the right things. It's reminding me of kind of like with the USL, and we'll talk about the USL sometime this summer too. how they're doing everything that that they're gradually doing everything the right way to make this work long term, and not thinking, let's get the quick bucks like the MLS does. You see what?
Yeah, I think the NWSL is doing a great job of one out of all the soccer leagues, they do the best job of marketing their talent.
Uh-huh.
They put their talent in front of the cameras, and the players do a great job of being accessible.
They're very marketable, highly marketable players, by the
Right.
way. Like
And so
I see more energy and like charisma out of the NWSL players than I do the MLS players. And
absolutely.
that's not by chance. That's purely wanting it more. Like I just got to say that about the MLS. I love the MLS. I've always wanted the MLS to be better than what it is. But you see what the NWSL does now, and you see what the players in the end is, how enthusiastic they are about their league, and it shows you why the MLS isn't as successful as it could be.
Because a part of that is these women don't feel entitled. They're not to say that they're homegrown talents, but they're cultured talents that are like, this is our league, but this is
Hmm.
also who we are as personalities. The
Yeah, them
MLS is still, it's like a
trying to become
corporation.
Europe.
No, it's just a corporation. It's not an identity of like, how do we groom our talent to connect with the people? It's not a connection to the people. It's just a league. And that's what separates, you know what I'm saying, all the sports in America is how connected are you to your culture, or how connected are you to the people?
And I mean, and that's kind of where I mean when I say that MLS is always trying to peer their eye over to Europe, and that's not what they need to do. They need to focus on their fan base. That's why I
Yeah,
keep saying with the MLS, it's like they try to do everything so much like in similarity to the EPL, and some of those things that they do just don't work here. Like we have to have our playoffs. Like I understand, like you might not like people might not like a best two or three situation, but that's how playoffs kind of work here, especially for a game like soccer. I get it; it's not loved, but it's trying to get an American fan base involved in a sport that's usually dominated by European rules. You see how in the
yeah,
NBA when they brought the NBA Cup and it's like that in-season tournament thing, and you see how confused a lot of casual fans were about how are you having a tournament inside of a league? That doesn't make
yeah.
sense. It's an odd thing to an American brain versus a European brain. And it's like I feel like certain aspects of the game just have to be taken out for the American eyeball. And the MLS is sometimes they do and sometimes they don't, but it's just like this weird pool of we're gonna do some things American, but we're gonna do some things Europe, but it's never gonna make sense together.
Right, but that doesn't take away from your engagement from your players and the community and the cultures. And that's what I'm saying, where the NWSL does such a better job of that. Like when you see any of the NWSL players, you feel connected. Like me personally, I feel connected to that league because I watched them play. Like I've watched it grow and blossom.
Yeah.
When you see the players, they talk about the league with passion. They don't carry themselves as being too good
Yeah,
for
like
the common
the triple
person.
espresso thing, like they're having fun.
Not yeah, they're having fun, but their enjoyment is in the game. When you
Yeah.
watch an MLS game, you don't feel connected, so to speak, to the play. You don't get to see them as much. You know what I'm saying? On any
Uh-huh.
stage.
Mhm.
Like you rarely hear of a young MLS player at an event that has culture. Where you're like, oh yeah, I'm surprised that they're there. Or that's dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I agree with you on that.
You just don't feel that connection all the time. Not to say that they don't try or that they don't do it, but you just don't get to feel it like it's natural. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the NWSL, it's natural, it's there, it's loved, it's embraced, and it's just dope. It's just dope, period. And I like it.
So where do you see the KC Current next year with Croix Bethune?
I
What
think
do
they're
you
gonna be
think?
a problem.
You think they're going to win it all?
I think they have a really good chance. Depending on what other moves happen, but I think they have a really good chance to do something special there.
I think I'm interested to see what becomes of it because I think we haven't seen Croix Bethune play that type of James Harden style where when you saw James Harden with because I think that's a great comparison by the way. When you saw him with Oklahoma City Thunder, you knew he was a player. But when you saw him with Houston, you could see the ISO talent and you saw how he could do when he was the guy. And I really do want to see what Croix Bethune can become when she has her own team and see what that could become and how we can implement that with the U.S. national team, because that could also change how we
Listen,
run as a team.
but that midfield is already stacked.
It is, boy. But let's move on and let's finish this episode off with a little bit of table talk. So this is gonna be we're gonna play a little game or do a little segment here and try something different. All right. So we're gonna go through the we're gonna go in order we're gonna go in this order: Bundesliga, Serie A, Ligue 1, and EPL, because I know in the EPL we're gonna go back and forth for like at least 30 minutes.
Huh? Come on.
We're gonna talk about each league and see what we think the end result of the league will be, how we think everybody's playing in the league to this point, post transfer window, and what we think needs to change, or how what we observe. We're just gonna give our takes.
Cool.
So let's start with the Bundesliga. Very clear, very clear. We probably don't even really need to talk much about this. Munich is up 50, is top of the table, 54 points. Harry Kane scoring out of his mind. Borussia Dortmund is nowhere in sight, like always, because they sell all their players to Bayern Munich, and this is a league that I personally believe just kind of kowtows to Bayern Munich. What do you think needs to happen for Borussia Dortmund to potentially come back and make this a season, or make it something, make a late season push to get the title from them, if it's even possible?
It ain't. There's nothing that can happen in Germany. Bayern has the
I feel
best
weird even having
selection.
this conversation, because it's like, why am I even trying to pretend that this is
Yeah.
a conversation that can even, like, we
It
know
ain't-
where the
it-
season's ending.
It's Bayern all day long. They have the best talent. And it's not even to say that they have the best talent. Like, I give a lot of credit to Vincent Company.
Yeah.
Because to
Go
come
on
in
that for
there,
a minute. Go on that.
yeah, like to come in there and do what he's done at that level, and to see the team completely dominate the way they have with that collection of young talent is crazy. And it's very un-German. Un-German, and when I say with Bayern Munich, when I say in German, I mean Bayern Munich, to do what they're doing right now with a young black coach that literally got fired at another smaller club in the Premiership, to then come in there and let him run it the way that he is. Respect that a lot.
I mean, I give it respect, but I also don't respect this league. Like, I've always, and I hate to sound like a disrespectful, like, Gen Z or whatever. I mean, I'm not a Gen Zer, but I hate to sound like those people who just don't like appreciate anything. But this league, since I've been a child, has always been Bayern Munich, Bayern Munich, Bayern Munich. Nobody is trying to compete with them. It's almost like they just give them the league.
No,
Borussia
you gotta
Dortmund
look at here. Here, I'm gonna give you some history. There's been Bayern Leverkusen, there's been the Borussia Dortmund, there's been the Wolfsburgs. There's been the teams that have gone on short runs. It's just as of late that Bayern has had this complete dominance. But you
glad-
have to take into account.
I'm glad you mentioned Bayer Leverkusen, because I always wanted to bring them up. They should have done everything they could have done to keep Xabi Alonso and keep that team together. Because look at where Xabi Alonso is now. Not with Real Madrid, but when he was with Bayer Leverkusen, they were a team. And I truly believe if he had stayed with that team, I believe, just like players, coaches fit in certain situations as well, or managers fit in certain situations as well. Xabi Alonso was in the perfect situation with Bayer Leverkusen to become their Alex Ferguson. I always compare it to Alex. He could have been their Alex Ferguson. We could have had a competitor to Bayern Munich, but they let him go. They sell. The German motto is sell. In big bold letters, sell.
But understand, to sell is great business.
It's good
Because
business, but you're not winning.
how long are you gonna be able to maintain that? You can't outbuy Bayern Munich. You can't. So and then take this into reality. Even though Xabi Alonso was at Leverkusen, who are they going to buy to come in?
That's not for me to say. I'm not Xabi Alonso. He can figure it out for his team. That's not.
You really have to understand this.
You build your team, and you make something. You play money ball. You do what you got to do. You figure it out. But nobody wants to figure it out anymore. They just give it up and say, well, this team has more money, so let's quit. No.
It's not a quit. It's not a quit. It's you start somewhere to go somewhere. And Germany is a great place to start and go somewhere and still be effective or have a major impact. Because if you think about it, majority of the players that have left the Bundesliga have been
Mhm.
very impactful.
Yeah, I agree.
They literally go from there, and whatever club they go to after that, they are stars. They are the most sought after players. Borussia Dortmund sought after players all day long for the last 10 years.
Yeah,
They produce
100%.
all your strikers. They produce all
100%.
your strikers.
100%. There's a great business model inside of this league, but there is not
Right.
a great league within this league, if that
No, it's
makes
not.
sense.
It's not a it's a one horse race, and everybody else looks to compete against that as best as they can.
And just to take it to a broader argument in terms of just clubs in general, because it's not just a thing that happens I'm being kind of partially unfair. This isn't just something that happens in Germany. It happens all over Europe, over soccer.
Yeah.
It's just very bad in Germany. But I'm also of the mindset, like, why are we just giving up to the big teams? Like, that's what makes American sports great, but we also have a salary cap, which is another portion of why there's a little bit of more parity in
Do
the
we
league.
though?
Yeah, yeah. except for when we don't. But my thing is, we're one Kurt Signetti. That's a good. Let's talk about college football. We're one Kurt Signetti away from blowing up this whole throw money at the problem. If you can develop and find talent before people find it, you can win. But nobody has that talent. Nobody has that football manager mentality, I want to say, where it's like, I'm just going to do it myself. They want to figure the problem with money. We'll solve our problems with money, not development. We'll let somebody
No,
else develop them.
no. Well, then what would you call Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Leverkusen over the last couple of years?
I would call them JV teams to Bayern Munich. I would call them a team who I look at those teams as good people. Like, I, it's frustrating me again. I'm sorry.
No, but I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something. Why would Bayern, who's never been known to have this great academy, try to develop something that is not there? That
Well,
has never been their model.
yeah, but
Name
that
5 players that have come from Bayern Munich Youth Academy.
you can't. But that's the thing. You build an academy that you can name players out of. You build the talent locally, and then
Their best players, to think about it, the best players from Bayern Munich have all been legends. Legends. So, and that's why I'm saying it to you. Like, if they realize that the players from their academy that are amazing are legends, it's very hard for them to really like bring that talent through. So when you're at the first team level and you can recognize that, okay, Olise is a talent we're gonna go get. We're gonna go get him. We're not gonna sit here and play around with it. We're competing because at the end of the day, they have to win a Champions League to justify everything that they do.
well, 100%. And how many times have they won it in recent times? Like what?
Right. But to get to that final, you have to have that kind of star power. Because you're competing against the EPLs, the Real Madrid. Like, you got to really look at who you're competing against. It's not the teams in your league, it's the Champions League. And to get to that quarterfinal, your squad better be deep.
I mean, what's a deep squad if all throughout your regulars, like, and this is why I think it doesn't work for them. I'm glad you said the goal for Bayern Munich, just like it was for PSG, was win the Champions League. You can't win if all you're doing is preparing to win the Champions League, because your league doesn't prepare you to win the Champions League, because you don't have to compete as hard. You're on easy street. So when you get to the Real Madrids, it's like, whoa, what's going on? I haven't seen a team this talented in the past 5 games, because I've been playing Wolfsburg and all these
Right.
other teams who have no competitive value to me as a club. But now I got to go play AC Milan or Internazionale or
But
whoever I got to
just
play in the
sports.
quarterfinals. And now I'm not ready for this, because I've just been on easy street this whole year. This whole year I've been playing easy games until I had to go play in the Champions League. I don't like it. I don't think it makes any sense for anybody to like it. But it's just, to me, get rid of it. Throw it out.
Listen, until you in that position, then you'll understand.
Yeah, if I was an owner, obviously I would love it. But from a fan's perspective, nah. But let's move on to the Serie A for a second, because I need to get away from that over there. But in the Serie A, it's a little still not as competitive, but closer. Inter's top, AC Milan's number 2, and Napoli's sitting at 3 with Juventus at 4. I want to talk more about Juventus, and when I say I want to talk about Juventus, I want to talk about Weston McKennie.
Man's a baller.
I hate that I gotta eat my words on this man, because I remember we were talking about it where I was like, man, I hate that he's playing. I hate when he runs and he's in that attacking third. He needs to stay in that defensive third,
I told you a
the midfield here
long time
and
ago.
stay back where he
I
belongs at
told
home.
you a long time ago.
You're right. I gotta do my public apology. You're right. And our team does exist in a frame where there is a little more of a free flow with the players we have to figure out. That's a complicated ask, if you ask me. I think with the talent we have, we need a more complicated system than we're willing to implement for those players, because I don't think they'll be able to understand it. But you have a player like Weston McKennie who starts in defense, but he's everywhere on the field. You have a Christian Pulisic who is, in your mind, a winger, but he's kind of all over that attacking third as well. How do you get the best out of these guys, but keep them in a place where they're not exposed on a transition attack? Because with Weston McKennie, that's my biggest fear. Is he's going to be up there, he's going to try and threat for a goal, and then we're exposed on the back end because he is amongst our best defenders in the club or in the national team.
You have to have a 6 that stays centrally. Because one, Christian Pulisic does not have a set position when it comes to U.S. national team. It's different for AC Milan when you have all these other players that can attract attention, and then he can do his thing. When it comes to the U.S. national team, he's not a striker, and he's not a true winger. Same thing with Weston. In Juve, he can float. He can find pockets. He has to do the same thing with the U.S. national team. They put him at the 6. They put him out wide. And they don't understand that his role is of a box-to-box kind of player. But you need someone behind him that's just going to stay put. And that's why at Juve, you see him play so many different positions, because they're like, oh, he's like a Swiss Army knife. No, he's just talented. And for the fact that you can't put him in this one little square peg and say, oh, yeah, he's just this. No, the man's scoring goals at striker now.
Yeah.
For a better head coach, that the last one said, oh, well, we don't know where we're going to play him.
Yeah. It's amazing to see. It's amazing to see with him. And I at this point, I've kind of like given up on what I think the team. I kind of have to let whatever they do be at this point, because I honestly just don't know. Like, seeing this Weston McKennie just makes me believe, like, well, what else can we do? Because Tyler Adams has that same ability in my mind, but I don't know if I want all my guys running freely on the field,
Tyler
doing whatever
Adams
they want to
is
do.
a true defender.
He is by far. He is a true defender, but I think he's better off. I think he benefits from being a defensive midfielder more than he does being holding it down as a center back or a wing back of any kind.
The thing about it is that with Tyler, because that U.S. midfield can be so intricate as to how you place players and what roles you give them, Tyler can either make that as a 6 and just sit if there was a Christian and Weston in front of him, or if you want to get tricky with it, you can put him as an outside back or as a center back, purposely because he can lead with direction defensively first. He doesn't lack communication like a lot of the center backs that play for U.S. And then he's also capable of being a true defender. He's not interested necessarily in trying to push up into the attack if he doesn't have to. He plays with a lot of discipline. So a player like him can thrive in those specific positions because he can then feed a person who can be creative and go be in the attack more, and he can hold it down. So that's why you don't necessarily push him too far up, because it's like, look, we need you to play right behind these two because these two are going to cover everything in front of you, and Weston's going to get back. Let Christian just stay up and be higher.
So where do you think? So let's bring it back to the Serie A, because we did the same thing we always do, talk about U.S. national soccer. What do you think AC Milan has to do to make this a competitive final stretch in the Serie A, maybe potentially threaten Inter for the
I mean,
title? Scudetto seems kind of secured at this point, but
yeah, I'll say this. I think Rafael Leao has to really become this star.
He's an interesting talent. He's an interesting talk himself because 2 or 3 years ago, we were talking about him leaving AC Milan and becoming that star, but it seems like he's kind of taken a couple steps back, come back to where he used to be, but then kind of plateaued. Where do you think he stands?
I think he's one of those. He's a face of AC Milan, but he's not a face in the world's eye.
Gotcha.
To where you're not put him in the same conversations you would as the top 10 wingers right now in the world.
But where do you put him on with Portugal then? Because he's surrounded by talent over there as well. What is his role on both teams? For AC Milan, what do you think his role is? Like how important is he to AC Milan? And how does that translate to his
He's very important to AC Milan, but to me, he hasn't made that leap in being dominant.
Gotcha.
He's and I can't say that he's comfortable with just being the player. He's
Uh-huh.
just not being dominant enough for me.
Uh-huh.
I look at a player of his capabilities and character and saying, well, you should be dominating. You should be having that mindset of 2 goals a game.
Yeah, it seems like it's all the talent in the world, none of the drive for me. It's like J.R.
Well, I
Smith
think he
in
has
NBA
drive.
or
I just don't think the league has. I don't think he's pushed his ability to the level of the league.
see, for me, I feel like it's with him, it just seems like I'm not with drive, maybe lack of drive is a bad word. I think maybe there's like there's no killer instinct in him for me. It's like
Right.
he doesn't really want it as bad as another player would or someone who's really trying to prove themselves out there would. It just seems like he's kind of out there and he's playing. He wants to win, but it's like it doesn't bother him if he doesn't win.
Yeah, it's not about winning to me. It's just his performance.
Or yeah,
I
or
single him performance wise in comparison to you know Italy. The Serie A is not a league where you're like there's an imposing player.
yeah,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
I think he should be making himself the imposing player. Like you got to be a threat for real. Like you got to be afraid of this guy the minute you step on the field. You know what I'm saying? You don't feel that when you watch him play.
Not at all. And I think his body language is a part of that as well, but I don't know. That's
No, but I
just
think
me.
because he enjoys the game. That's why. And I'm fine with that. It's just you got to be dominant.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, hey, maybe next season will be better for them. But I just this season, like this league and then Bundesliga and Serie A is just like it's already so far, it's already won, and it's just
Yeah.
weird to me. It's like what does he have to play? What does Rafael Leao have to play for at this point? I don't think he's gonna go to bat for it out there in Serie A games with the league being what it is.
Yeah. Nah, the
So it's
league's
hard to
done.
see that this year. So I got to see what he does next year, and I got to see what he does in
No,
the World Cup as well. But
that's what I was going to say. I want to see what he does in the World Cup.
but we'll see what happens with that. Now let's go over to league another league that's I mean we're really just kind of talking. Well, I mean this one's closer. Lens is closer, but still we know PSG is going to win this league. It's all but secure. But there are a couple good things I want to talk. I want to talk about Monaco and Paul Pogba not working out over there because I thought he'd be playing by this point. And yeah, I've only seen him twice. I've seen him come on one time, and then I've seen him come on 2 games, and it's just like now it's like he's a ghost. Every Monaco game is just. I mean, I thought Monaco would be a more competitive team than they were when when they brought in all the rejects that I thought they brought in. Like,
Yeah.
okay, they brought in all these guys who were going to prove themselves, but here we are
Did they prove
after
themselves?
after half a season, and it seems like okay, now we see why you're at Monaco.
Right.
Now, Paul Pogba, granted, his situation was a little different. He was trending down before his suspension, and coming back, I thought maybe Monaco would be the best place for him. He's playing in Ligue 1. He'd be able to affect that league just by him on his presence alone. Clearly, that's not been the case. PSG is a lot more competitive team now than they've ever been. Obviously, they've always been a competitor, but where Monaco is, it's just like another shoulder shrug for me. It's like, okay, well, I guess we're right. I guess there's a fork in those players. What do you think?
I don't know. I can't say that it's a fork in those players. I'll just say when you take players who have had history of injury, you got to give them more than a season.
Yeah.
Because what
Especially
happens
Fati.
is,
I forgot to mention Fati's name, but
yeah,
Asu Fati is the other player for Monaco who I kind of had higher hopes for at this point in the story, but it just didn't work out.
yeah, it's
But
tough when you go from dealing with battling injuries for a certain amount of time to people having this expectations for you to now you're getting these minutes, so to speak, but you're also having to reprove yourself again. And one thing that I've come to realize about the sport is that it's very difficult for most players to have to reprove themselves. That bounce back isn't always the same once they're not as fit or not capable to do the thing that they used to do. And I think right now, if Pogba was healthy, you would hear more of the whispers of him in this World Cup or him, performing. But that's not the case because he just hasn't been able to perform.
because that's essentially where I thought the story would go. I thought a couple games in we'd be talking about, okay, well let's bring him to
Fitness.
the camp before the season and see what he does, and maybe we'll talk about him being in the World Cup. At this point, there's no way he ends up in the World Cup. I'd be incredibly surprised if he was on that
Yeah, no,
roster.
he's not. Not
Yeah.
with the other players are rising to the
Yeah,
top. I think
there's just too many. Exactly. There's too many other guys who are you can't justify putting Paul
yeah.
Pogba on that team and leaving them
No, if
alone.
he was
So
playing consistent 90 minutes, game in, game out, it'd be a respectable thing, but
yeah,
he's just not there right now.
yeah, yep. It is another. That is another. It's another situation where it's like I don't know. Is you wanna say it's all right there for him, but it's just
It's out of reach.
he didn't grab it. You
Yeah.
gotta grab it sometimes. But But let's move on to the story the league that we're gonna go back and forth on, and it's gonna be a bloodbath because I have so many things I want to say because, but here we go. EPL. I don't believe in Manchester United. I just want to start that off right here, right now. Everyone is talking. Everyone is saying, "Okay, we're back. We're back. We're what are they? Fifth right now in the league. You're I know Manchester I know the story far too well, and I'm saying it right now, and I'm gonna stand out on this ledge and be the guy who does the bold prediction. And I'm gonna have my Miss Cleo meme later, and I'm gonna show you all that I was right. Manchester United. Sorry, I was about to say Bayern Munich. You see how mad I am
Right.
already?
Catch yourself.
Manchester United is gonna be in the Europa League. I want you all to understand this. There is no Champions League this year. There is potential to be a good team. You got Amaran out of there. He was destroying a lot of situations. Some people would like to say he was changing the culture. I don't believe that necessarily. I believe he was changing it. He was putting the team the way fixing the team the way he wanted to fix it. Cool. It didn't work out, so you lost your job as a result. Now, what happens every time there's a new manager? Players start playing better. They want to prove themselves to this manager. They want to show that they're worth keeping for next season. That's why you see Manchester United trending where they are right now. They are not going to finish top four. Chelsea and Liverpool, one of those two is going to finish ahead of them, if not both. But go ahead. The floor is yours.
I'll say this. Manchester United has a really good chance of finishing in the top four. In my opinion, depending on how they finish these next couple of results. But if they make it to Europa League, that's better than where they were last year.
It is.
So
Let me walk that back a little bit for the internet. Europa League is a good place to be. But I just need United fans to understand you're not where you think you are. And it's not because of the coaching. It's not because of the players. It's because of the ownership. They don't know what they're doing, and they're destroying. Anytime the team progresses, they take 10 more steps back.
well,
Watch what's going to happen in this next juncture. Something's going to happen that makes them go back. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, you good. No, I just think that when you look at what Amaran did, I think the biggest lesson to be learned here out of all of it is that Kobe Mainoo is a bona fide player. And that is the biggest tragedy to come out of all of this. Is that
Exactly. All
young
those
man had to
years.
sit the bench and deal with a difficult situation. And the minute he got one 90-minute start under Michael Carrick, this man has been pound for pound the best player in a United uniform.
Say it again. Say it again. Say
The
it again.
amount of ground. Oh, pound for pound, he's.
Say it again.
Listen.
Like how you doing? How they do in England? They do a wheel up, wheel up, wheel
Yeah.
up.
He went from being a player that you didn't talk about to now you're like, if he's not on the World Cup roster, there's a problem.
Exactly.
And for me, Almiron has shown how bad of a coach / manager he is because of the proof of this player. Because you made it, to me, looking at it now, he made it personal. It was no longer about the player being the player. And so now when you look at that situation and then you look amongst others that have left and are performing, it's like, okay, what's really going on?
Exactly. And it kind of like, okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, but to that point, when you bring in a manager like that and you don't look within, because Michael Carrick has always been there. So when you don't look within, yes, that is a complete change of culture. You gave this man X amount of games and it hasn't happened. The likes of Casemiro are playing to lead. They're not playing to stay. They're just playing to lead. Rightfully so. They should keep Michael Carrick and keep the team that they have because there's a lot of young talent that can produce, but there's also players there with leadership. And now they have a solid core of a team. They build around Mainu, Cunha, Bruno. Let what's his name? Dorga? Is it Dorga? Dorgu?
Yeah, I don't know.
Dogu.
I say it in the accent they say it on the when they're commentating.
Diallo, you have players now.
And I also want to talk about, because I'm glad I wanted to like really hit on that Kabi moment you had for a second. What was he doing sitting on the bench? And I want to bring that back to Marcus Rashford as well. I know Marcus Rashford is not a bona fide star. He's no Erling Haaland. He's no Harry Kane, but he is a great striker and he's been a great player for Manchester United for a long, long time. It was sad to see him be forced to train away from the team that he came up with, along with other players, and be put like on an island in exile just to go somewhere else and be a talented, and just to not only outperform Manchester United in the early portion of the league, but to show that, okay, there is some talent here if you work with it and if you develop it. What is to be made of, like, even not just Marcus Rashford? Let's talk Scott McTominay in Serie A for a second. He had a moment in the Champions. He had a couple moments in the Champions League where it's like, United, what are y'all doing? What are you doing?
Like I said, it becomes the issue for United was always management. It wasn't always the players. So we can take it as far back to when they had Paul Pogba in his day and Lukaku. When you're playing a player like Paul Pogba out of position and you're playing him deeper up the field, but you're expecting him to create in the attack, what are you going to get? When you have pretty much 2 10s playing at the same time, what are you going to get? You know what I'm saying? When you bring in a Di Maria and you're not making this player comfortable in the style of play, what are you going to get? So there's been situations where they've had the right pieces, bad manager / coach. And I think over time, it's just been a deteriorating spot.
It's where dreams go to die. It feels like they're turning into the Cleveland Browns. Just a graveyard.
They were.
But let's actually bring it back to the broader conversation of the EPL, because we're doing it again. Where do you see this league ending? Do you think Arsenal's going to finish it out, or do you think they're going to bottle it up? It's close. It's getting closer.
Listen,
they have a game in hand. They have a game in hand, but 3 points is 3 points. That's very, very plausible for Arsenal to give it up in a very Arsenal fashion.
If Arsenal wants to hurt their fans base anymore, they better not lose this league. If there was ever a chance for Arsenal to just win, I hope this is the season.
Yeah, they don't. If they don't, there might not be any Arsenal.
Right. Because if they lose this season, I promise you right now, their diehard fans are coming for Arteta. They're coming for the ownership. They're
Well,
coming for Odegaard. They're coming for everybody.
well, he's going into Witsec.
Listen.
Yeah, Arteta's going into Witsec. Gayorkis, he's got a head for he's gonna have to he's gonna have to find Salah somewhere, bro, because he's the first one. He's gonna be the first one they come for.
I do not blame him.
Why?
The man just got there. And number two, for a striker in today's game that doesn't have any real feel to the game, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
Strikers don't get touches. They're not getting the ball and just driving at people. They're literally back to goal, post up. Like, and even then, that's not even their game. Like, look at Gyökeres before he got there, and then look at him there. It's two different styles of players, two different players.
Keep saying Gayorkis because every time I say his name, I say the G. But if you see, I'm gonna tell you exactly where he messed up, or I'm gonna tell you why he's gonna be the sacrificial lamb. I'm gonna show you exactly why he's gonna be the sacrificial lamb for Arsenal. That's it. That's why he celebrates too much. That celebration is the only reason he's going to be. That's the only. I'm looking at. I'm like watching. I'm like, if they lose this league, he's gonna be not Saka, who's been there all this time, not anybody else. It's gonna be him. It's gonna be him.
I can guarantee you this: the conversations around Saka will change.
They will change. They will change for sure.
I can guarantee you, if they don't win this league, the conversation around Saka being star boy will change.
Yeah, that will for sure change if they don't win the league. But I'm still team Starboy. I'm still supporting my guy to the end of the days. I think
until
the problems that face Arsenal,
until he has a season of 30 plus, it ain't gonna matter.
All right, so here's my thing with Saka. It's not that he's not performing well. It's he's not performing well enough. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So
no, it does. It's like Rafael, same thing.
Close, but I feel like Saka's situation is a little bit more different because he's in the EPL.
How?
We got to give him a little more. He's in the EPL. It's a lot. The league is far different. It's the competition.
Okay, the league
is
is far different, but the result is still the same.
The result is still the same. But
if you're not dominating in a position where people are holding you to this regard, then what are you actually doing?
The only thing Saka doesn't have is memorable moments for
so then what
Arsenal.
Are we talking about?
But you can't say that this guy, because he has no memorable moments yet, isn't a player who's been producing for this team. They need to get people around. They need to get more people around him that can help him become that star.
Stop.
Come on.
No.
We got to look at what they got. Hold on. Let me land a plane real quick. The transfers that they bring in aren't necessarily complementary pieces to Bukayo Saka. They are pieces for Arsenal. They are not pieces for Saka's play.
Think about it. They are pieces for his play because they're waiting for him to start dominating scoring and taking people on. Think about it. If they bring in, okay, I'm going to show you the best example. If Arsenal brings in a Vinny and Mbappe, that takes away from him being able to be free on that side.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you on that.
End conversation right there. They're waiting for him to do what Vinny does. They're waiting for him to do what Mbappe does. They're waiting for him to do what Dembele does, which is what? Score 25 plus goals. He has not done it yet. At the end of the day, EPL or not, he has not done that yet. And they're not going to win the league unless he does that. Because as of right now, he's still the same player he's been for the last couple of seasons.
Fair. He is the same player. It seems like the progression rate kind of stagnates, kind of went straight flatline. I haven't seen anything bad. I haven't seen him decline either, though. So that's a good thing to talk about. I don't see a decline in him right at this point.
It's not a decline.
I just see a flat player, I guess.
Think about it. If Saka was on any other team besides Arsenal, you wouldn't talk about him.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that.
You put Saka on Tottenham. You talking about him?
It depends. Like that's
put Saka on West Ham. We talking about him?
Yes, absolutely. West Ham has nothing.
We put him on Aston Villa. You talking about him? Nope.
Not Aston Villa, but look.
The point comes down
issues, but he will get better.
No. See, this is what happens. With players like Saka, we sugarcoat what they need to be doing. Arsenal won't win. I can guarantee you this. If Semenyo
Is Semenyo what? I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. What did you say? Mm-hmm.
Season,
Mm-hmm.
Saka move to the side. I can guarantee you.
Semenyo
Because that's what we're looking at.
Semenyo is showing that he might become what Saka should be. I'll give you that. But we got
Look at
like
Doku. We say the same thing about Doku. All the talent, at some point, it got to equal goals.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But if they win the league, all is fair. I mean, you can't fault him this year.
If they win the league, I give you that.
If they win the league this year, he gets a year of give him some chance, give him some time. He buys himself some time with. If Arsenal wins, he buys time.
No, he don't.
Buys time. He 100% buys time.
No, he don't.
How does he not buy time? You won. There's a trophy. There's a trophy that you did not have beforehand. You want him to get 20 plus, 25 plus goals and destroy that and become the guy who's scoring in games that don't matter? Or do you want him to be the guy that's helping your team win?
Listen, you want him to be the man of the team and not be the role player. Hey. He has good performances. Don't get me wrong. Saka does. I'm not saying that he's not a talent, but what I'm saying is he has not produced in the way of which he should to put him on this world stage. When you look at Saka in comparison to Vinny, Mbappe, Olise, I'll take Olise over him right now.
I would. It'd be close, but I might take Olise as well. But that's just current form. Long term,
I'm taking Olise Monday through Sunday over him right now.
I think there's a little city bias in this one right there.
Listen, I am a City fan. Don't get me wrong.
But Olise is good now.
Then I'll ask you this question: if the market was available right now for Saka, where is he going to play? Because he can't leave Arsenal.
You know what? No, I take that back. There is a market. You know where? Bayern Munich.
He wouldn't play over who?
Harry Kane did it.
Over who?
He could. It doesn't matter who's playing for Bayern Munich. They're always gonna perform the way they perform because there's nobody to compete against. They could throw a dart at the name list, and that's who's playing today, and that's who's winning.
Okay, Leroy Sané.
Okay.
Where was he?
Hey,
on a championship winning team. On a championship winning team, and it's on the bench there. Where do you think Saka gonna be?
Come on, you're not really gonna say Leroy Sané. Come on now, Saka. I believe in Saka. I believe in Starboy still.
Even Saka the same way I believed in Sané. Listen, I believe in Saka the same way I believed in Sané. They were both talented, but at some point the goals gotta match.
Well, we'll see. But before we end this, I just want to talk about one more aspect of the EPL, and that's Liverpool and their declining efforts. Right now, they're sitting behind Chelsea. They're trending up, I would say. I think where they are is where they're going to finish at this point.
They tired.
But this goes back to the original argument that we had at the beginning of the season, or maybe not even. I mean, it was more me and Wendell on the pod talking about it at this point, but it was about Alexander Isak and whether it made sense to buy him after buying Hugo Ekitike. Now, I will say at that point, I said to myself for sure, personally, why would you buy Hugo Ekitike if you can buy Alexander Isak? Isak is better. Just buy one, get defenders. They decided they wanted to get both. Cool, if you can get both, get both. I was wrong. Hugo Ekitike was far more prepared to be on Liverpool than Alexander Isak. And he's proven that maybe you should have just bought Hugo Ekitike like they did and then put the rest of that money somewhere else. Because Alexander Isak has disappeared from this team at this point, essentially. He's not really performing well. I don't think it ever will be it was supposed to be. He's hurt. I'll give you that he's hurt. But this is what happens when you started your season off not training with Newcastle, like Wendell mentioned, and then trying to force your way into. Oh, I'm sorry, got a little FaceTime going.
Go ahead, FaceTime action.
It's my grandma.
I love you, grandma.
But yeah. So it's like one of those things where Hugo Ekitike should have been where they stopped buying attacking talent, and they should have put the rest of that money towards defenders,
It's hard to
midfielders,
say that.
role players.
I think they thought they had a good nucleus, and a good core. I just think the decline and burned relationships kind of got them in trouble. And when you look at Ekiteke, I don't think people expected him to hit the ground running the way he did. But I think with Isak, I think the hard part is that because he wasn't fully fit coming in, and because of that price tag, it hurt him in a way because then he had to come in and prove something instead of just coming into play. I do think though, having Isak and Ekiteke together come future is going to be crazy to stop. Because
I
once
think,
Mo Salah leaves this season, it's a done deal.
yeah,
But you don't have to rebuild
yeah, you don't have to rebuild.
because you
But I
have
think,
3 6-foot plus strikers
do
with
you think,
Gakpo, Ekiteke, and Isak. That's crazy.
do you think, do you think that Isak's role changes though? Like, do you think he's now targeted as you're the complementary piece for Hugo Ekitike, or do you think it's still we're going to see who the better of the two is? Still, we're still going to let this work itself out.
I think they got to let it work itself out
Okay.
because you can't say one is better than the other when they're. I mean, Ekiteke is having a great season.
He's performing, but I'm also not saying I'm not going to jump out on them and say Ekitike is the better player. I'm
Right.
just saying at this juncture, it seems like maybe you could have just been better off using that money elsewhere.
It's hard to say that after the fact
Yeah.
because if you look at having the both of them together, that would be crazy.
It
That to
would
me
be.
could be. It reminds me of when you had Zlatan and Adriano at Inter Milan.
I was going to say Drogba and Nelka, but yeah, it seems like that. I mean, maybe not on the level of Drogba and Nelka, but it felt like that type of pairing.
Yeah, no, it's
Like a
two
type of
power. It could be two powerhouses. Yeah,
pairing. Yeah. So it
and they're
just felt
both
like,
good players.
yeah. So I don't know what comes of it, but I really wish the Isak situation went differently.
Yeah, I just think I think as a team, they are heavy legs. They're the old experienced team like in any other sport. And they just have veterans. And they need to get some younger talent, some fresh talent, but also Wirtz was supposed to be a big signing for them, and he hasn't turned into that player yet. And usually takes a season or two for players to turn into that.
Yeah,
You know, they say the same thing about
Verts has been
Bernardo
an
Silva.
issue.
Yeah, it just happens. As long as he ain't Wirtz, Timo Werner, he good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Timo Werner. That's another. I got PTSD hearing that name as a Chelsea fan. But anyway, this has been another episode of Arc Soccer Collective's World Soccer Daily, the original Arc Soccer Collective podcast. You can follow us everywhere on social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Arc Soccer Collective. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to follow Dupe. Dupe, where can they follow you at? Tell them everything you
Follow
got
me
going
at
on.
Footballer Dupe on Instagram and Player Position World on Instagram as well. I'm here. I'm at Hampton Women's Soccer right now. So yeah, we're growing grassroots.
Go Pirates.
Indeed.
All right. We'll see you guys next episode. Take care.
Peace out.
All right. Let me stop it.